We follow orders or people die. Metaphorically speaking, what Jack Nicholson just said in that movie. In that little 55-second passage, he explained football. Football as it's supposed to be played, how it's supposed to be coached, and how it's supposed to be the entire, what would you say, orchestration, environment, culture of football is similar, extremely similar to what Jack Nicholson just said. I understand there's a lot of millennials out there on Twitter and stuff who watch these things and say it shouldn't be that way. I'm sorry to tell you, football is a land acquisition environment. It is a land acquisition culture. It is probably the closest thing to war that is legal. It's played on a football field, but trust me, if you've ever been in a huddle, if you've ever put a face mask down, you understand what this hand-to-hand combat is. Do you question authority? Not if you want to be on that damn field. I can't tell you how many times I've been in a huddle where a play was called, and I went, this shit's not going to work. It just doesn't make any sense. What the hell is he thinking? But when you break that huddle, you run that play to the best of your friggin' ability. And I've used that in business as well. Hey, listen, if we got something to discuss, we can discuss it. Let's have a meeting, a conference call. But understand when this call ends, you're doing what I tell you. That's it. We are not running this thing by committee. I'm sorry for millennials and you youngsters and you wokesters, but business and life isn't run by committee. You do what you're friggin' told, and you shut up and you execute, or you find someplace else to go. I am sick and tired of this entire culture, not just with the Miami Dolphins, but with youngsters included, where they think that they're entitled to their opinion, that they're entitled and they're able to voice how they feel. F you. I'm going to say that right now. Is Barry ranting? Absolutely he's ranting. You are destroying the game of football. So in case some of you don't understand, why is Barry so hot today? Well, it happened again. Yet again, I said I wasn't going to keep doing Dolphins videos in case other than if news breaks. And then what happens? News breaks. And I just happened to be the one to break it today. And people went friggin' nuts. So I get fed a lot of stories. People will email me. They'll say, hey, want to take a look at this? Check out what this guy said. Check out what that guy said. A lot of people don't have the platform I have, and not a lot of people want to take the arrows like I do. So I'm like, I don't care. Let me take a look. Ooh, this looks juicy. And so that's what happened today. I got fed a story that I dug into, and I began looking into it. I got it fed to me, I don't know, maybe about 2 o'clock. And I'm like, Barry, why did you wait till 7:30? Because I wanted to see what everybody else was going to say. I wanted to see what everybody else was going to do. I sent over to TD. I let him have my video. Go ahead and run with it. Let me see what you're going to say. What's your audience think about this? And then all of a sudden, the ripples went, and people went nuts. And of course, Barry's a clown, but Barry didn't say anything because it wasn't Barry's video. It was a video of 2 other guys talking. I just put it out there. Just for the mere fact of me putting it out there caused a complete uproar. People went friggin' nuts. Except the nuts didn't get what they were hoping for. The overwhelming majority of people said, hey, yeah, this isn't cool. Something's wrong. So, Barry, you're talking a lot. Because what exactly was the video that was sent to me? And it's by Real Finn's Talk. The guy sent it to me. He's like, Barry, you want to take a look at this? And I'm sitting around having, lunch, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, wow. So I'm going to play it for you. Let's go ahead and play this video. Let me see if I can cue it up so you guys can hear it. We'll watch it together, okay? Let's listen to this video. So let me set the stage for it. This is Ron Jaworski, a former Philadelphia Eagle, MVP of the Super Bowl and some other things. He's got all kinds of accolades, all kinds of awards, became a broadcaster after that. well regarded in Philadelphia and in the NFL. Been friends with Vic Fangio since 1980. Some people on Twitter took that to mean, oh, he's some curmudgeon. He's some old guy talking shit. And he's talking on a radio show, and he talks to these people on the show, and he drops this little nugget out of nowhere talking about the Miami Dolphins and what happened with Vic Fangio. And I heard this, and I went, that's it. That's a few good men. This is what people don't understand. So let's get to this video right away. Cut to the chase. Let's get to this video and talk about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it in its entirety first. I'm not going to say anything. It's 2 minutes and 38 seconds long. If you haven't seen it, you're going to be in for a surprise. Then if you have seen it, enjoy it for the second or third time. But just listen to this.
You have deep relationships with so many people in the NFL. And I'm curious, from your personal standpoint or just more observing standpoint through the years, what do you think of Vic Fangio and what he'll bring to the table?
I am absolutely very excited about I've known Vic Fangio back since the mid-'80s when he was with the USFL Philadelphia Stars as a volunteer, unpaid assistant, cutting his teeth in professional football.
Wild.
I've kept in touch with Vic all through the years. You won't find a better man, a football lifer, a guy dedicated to his profession, a great designer, not an ego that impacts anyone else. And when I knew it was going to be Vic that was going to be hired, I started doing my research again. I know his football style and what he wants to do. But, back in 2019, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, and Matt LaFleur, who are pretty damn good NFL coaches, all said the toughest coach to prepare for defensively is Vic Fangio. Now, that's saying a lot right there. When those three guys at the height of the game, recognize Vic Fangio as a great designer.
Yeah.
So, and I kind of felt as things were falling apart after the season, there needed to be an adult in the room, a guy that really understood the ups and downs of the NFL. And I thought that's why Vic Fangio really fit that mold perfectly. He's head coach. He's been fired. He's been on different teams. He's been through it all. So you're going to get a guy that has great experience.
Does the Dolphins players speaking out against him, I can't stand Drew Rosenhaus. I'll still hold him responsible for the TO thing 20 years ago. But Drew Rosenhaus going public, which is sort of unusual for an agent to do so about a coordinator that got whacked, or they moved on from, if you will. Does that give you some pause, or is that just the modern athlete, and does he need to do a better job from what you surmise of dealing with them?
It impacts you 0%. Coach is coach. And, I have connections as well around this league. And, I hear another side of that story, that there were some players on that defense that didn't want to work, didn't want to put the time in, didn't want to put the effort in, didn't want to make the commitment to be successful. Guys like to party at night, and, South Beach is a really great place to party. And Vic tried to get those guys and push those guys to become harder workers and better athletes and more committed to their team. And he couldn't get through to those guys. So those are the guys that Vic was pushing, and they're the guys that are whining right now.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So I know you just watched it, but what we're going to do at this point, in case some of that stuff just went by you, I'm going to go through it. There are a number of points that I think, or I feel, that I have to point out here. They're extremely important. At least I'm going to give you my opinion on what was said here, because to me, this is extremely vital to the future success of the Miami Dolphins and the future success of Mike McDaniel. And so I think it's very important that I take some time here. You guys, if you get bored, understand I'm going to go through this. It's only 2.5 minutes, but I may talk for more than 2 minutes myself. But let me stop at the right point.
You have deep relationships with so many people in the NFL. And I'm curious, from your personal standpoint or just more observing standpoint through the years, what do you think of Vic Fangio and what he'll bring to the table?
All right, so he's talking about right now Vic Fangio coming to Philadelphia to be the defensive coordinator, which happened immediately after he got the chain set loose away from Miami. And Jaworski, if you don't know, go look it up, was a amazing quarterback back in the day. And he has kept his tentacles in the NFL. Like I said, he was a broadcaster, but he's going to talk to you about his relationship with Vic Fangio here.
I am absolutely very excited about. I've known Vic Fangio back since the mid '80s when he was with the USFL Philadelphia.
So we're talking 40 years of relationship with Vic Fangio. 40 years. Understand that. We're going to continue.
His stars as a volunteer, unpaid assistant, cutting his teeth in professional football.
Wild.
I've kept in touch with Vic all through the years. Mm-hmm. You won't find a better man, a football lifer, a guy dedicated to his profession.
And that's what you want people to say. If you were to die and someone came out and gave you a eulogy, you'd want some people to say, you're not going to find a better man anywhere. At least that's what Ron Jaworski's saying. Obviously, there's some people in Miami who may have felt different, but we're going to talk about that.
A great designer, not an ego that impacts anyone else.
Not an ego that affects anybody else. Completely different than what you've heard down here, right? Completely different. His ego supposedly was the problem.
When I knew it was going to be Vic, it was going to be hired, I started doing my research again. I know his football style and what he wants to do. But, back in 2019, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, and Matt LaFleur.
Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur. Those names ring a bell? They should. They all come from the Shanahan tree, like Mike McDaniel. So, if Sean McVay, Super Bowl winning coach, Kyle Shanahan in the Super Bowl, and Matt LaFleur all didn't have a problem with Vic Fangio, and they're from the same tree as Mike McDaniel, how did it become a problem this year? Something to ask yourself.
We're pretty damn good NFL coaches. All said, the toughest coach to prepare for defensively is Vic Fangio. Mm-hmm. Now, that's saying a lot right there. When those three guys at the height of the game, recognize Vic Fangio as a great designer.
Yeah.
So, I kind of felt as things were falling apart after the season, there needed to be an adult in the room.
Boom. There needed to be an adult in the room. When you need somebody to step in and stop all the bullshit that's happening in your locker room, you want a guy like Vic Fangio. You want a guy like the Colonel Jessup in A Few Good Men. Anyone doubt your orders? Nah, if you don't doubt my orders, people die. You want someone to step in and say, enough's enough, playtime's over, the adult here is taking charge. That is a huge, huge thing that you just heard.
A guy that really understood the ups and downs of the NFL, and I thought that's why Vic Fangio really fit that mold perfectly. He's head coach, he's been fired, he's been on different teams, he's been through it all. So you're going to get a guy that has great experience.
Does the Dolphins players speaking out against him, and I can't stand Drew Rosenhaus. I'll still hold him responsible for the TO thing 20 years ago. But
all right, so he's talking about Drew Rosenhaus, who is an agent for 7 or 8 of the different Miami Dolphins players, who immediately upon Fangio being let go, deciding to leave, whatever happened, we will never know, comes out and does an interview and says, players didn't like him. There were a number of players who didn't like Vic Fangio. You heard it in Denver. They didn't like him either. They ran him out. There's these players out here that just aren't fans of Vic Fangio. That was very quick. It was almost as if it was pre-planned. It was almost as if, that they knew this was going to happen and they wanted to get out in front of it. Quite odd. Happened in the media as well. All these writers, nobody saw what was happening until the day it happened. You didn't notice how Vic Fangio was approaching things in the locker room and on the field? Sure you did. You heard some of his comments. Hey, listen, I don't got the right players. Hey, why isn't Cam Smith playing? He's got some shit to work on. Cam Smith, these guys, let's continue.
Drew Rosenhaus going public, which is sort of unusual for an agent to do so about a coordinator that got whacked, or they moved on from, if you will. Does that give you some pause, or is that just the modern athlete? And
the modern athlete. When I saw that, I almost had to regurgitate. That in itself is a problem. The, quote, modern athlete. You mean the entitled, woke, baby, whining, crap your diaper player who doesn't understand you are here because I want you here. You are on this team because I thought you could play. I am not running this defense on committee. I'll take your input. I'll take it under advisement, but you work for me. I am the friggin' boss. You're not the boss. If you don't like it, step. I don't understand how people don't get that over and over. We'll talk about some of the Miami Dolphins fans' comments in a second.
Does he need to do a better job from what you surmise of dealing with them?
It impacts you 0%. Coach is coach.
You understand that? Coach is coach. Let's finish that sentence. Coach is coach, players play. That's the relationship. That is the complete symbiosis right there. Your job is to play. My job is to coach. Those two things don't cross over. You are not a player coach, and I am not a coach player. My relationship with you is boss. You are employee. Period. That's what it is. Don't like it? Again, step. You don't have to be here.
And, I have connections as well around this league. And, I hear another.
Okay. And this is where a lot of people didn't like. Hey, I got connections around this league. I've been around 40 years. I've been around for a long time. Vic Fangio's been around 40 years. We hear the stories. We hear the talk. There's a lot of chirping going on. That's one of the big things I wanted to stop there before he gets into it and let you know I saw comment after comment after comment from Miami Dolphins fans on Twitter, and it just made me laugh. I'm like, you guys can't be this moronic. You can't possibly be. The comments were such as, I don't believe it. It's BS. Who the hell knows? He wasn't there. And I'm like, it doesn't matter what you think. Doesn't matter what I think. What matters is there's chatter around the friggin' league. People are talking about the complete disarray, the discombobulation, the complete dysfunction of this Miami Dolphins team, and we're talking on a level up here. I don't give a shit about what fans are saying on Twitter. You have no clue. I don't have any clue. What I do know from what he has said and other people have said, and you can see with the search for the defensive coordinator to replace Vic Fangio, people are talking. People continue to talk every single day. That's why I keep having to turn on the camera. Something else happens. Like, oh my God, what happened now? Oh, today Ron Jaworski goes on a radio show and said, these guys are screwed, man. These guys are just messed up. But now he's going to drop it. So understand, what he just said is that there's talk around the league. You may not like it. I may not like it. The players may not like it, but they made their own bed. And now they're talking. And don't for an instant think, or not think, that Vic Fangio talked to his buddy and went, whew, man, you got to see what Mike McDaniel's doing down there. Oh my God, it's friggin' romper room. These guys just don't want to perform. They don't want to execute. You know me, Ron. I'm tough. I want things done a certain way, and I just started seeing some of these guys whine. They just didn't like what I had to say. And now I'm being branded as being, I don't have a good personality. You didn't get along with people. It was my way or the highway. At which point Ron Jaworski probably said, you mean you were the coach? It's my way or the highway. That's how it's friggin' supposed to be. I can't tell you how many people were using that as a pejorative and saying there's something wrong. Oh man, he was old school and it was his way or the highway. I'm like, he's the friggin' coach. What has happened with this team and these players to think that the coach isn't the boss? It's amazing to me. It is completely blows my mind that these people on Twitter and elsewhere think that they know better than a 40-year coach. Think about that. It's being spread around the league up here in circles way above Twitter. It's up here. You've got veterans, you've got MVPs, you've got broadcasters. They're all talking right now saying, Miami, dumpster fire. There's shit going down around there. So if you step in, you want to be a defensive coordinator, understand, first of all, they may lose half the defense to free agency. What? Yeah, they might lose a bunch of these guys. Number two, I want you to look up the word insubordinate if you haven't heard that before. Maybe some of you youngsters don't understand that. Look up the word insubordinate. Hey, man, they got a bunch of players down there that are this close or over the line of being completely insubordinate. So what's the head coach doing, man? Hey, he's just letting it happen. He wants to be their friend. They brought the ping pong tables in, and he's their buddy. And he is creating an aura of insubordination. Barry, you don't know, you're not in the locker room. No, I don't have to be. I can hear what the people are saying. You're on Twitter talking about, I don't believe it's BS. Okay.
Side of that story, that there were some players on that defense that didn't want to work. Didn't want to put the time in, didn't want to put the effort in, didn't want to make the commitment to be successful. Guys like to party at night, and South Beach is a really great place to party. And Vic tried to get those guys and push those guys to become harder workers and better athletes and more committed to their team. And he couldn't get through to those guys. So those are the guys that Vic was pushing, and they're the guys that are whining right now.
Those are the guys that Vic was pushing, and those are the guys that are whining right now. I couldn't think of a worse indictment of my team if I was Mike McDaniel, of my players if I was Chris Grier, of my organization if I was Stephen Ross. You're now being talked about on a very high level, not with these idiots on Twitter or YouTubers. I'm talking about up here, the word is being spread, dumpster fire in Miami. Loss of control, locker room doing what they want, fan base saying, it's not fair. He's not being nice to everybody. Well, welcome to the new world. Welcome to the new world of entitlement, where these younger players, the modern athlete, now feels they are player coaches. And they feel like they can pick up the phone and tweet and give shit and talk shit about people, and they think there's no repercussions. Ha! Wrong. This is your repercussion. This is your comeuppance. Not me. Nobody on Twitter. None of what you say matters. What matters is those upper circles. And what the funny thing about this, completely funny thing about this, is why am I the one who has to come out with this shit? Why am I the one? Why aren't the people in the Miami Herald, the Sun Sentinel, and other people out there go, hey man, there was this interview with Ron Jaworski where he talked to Vic Fangio, and Vic Fangio said, we got a dumpster fire here in Miami. Why are they not talking about it? Why do they keep telling me to shut up about it? Barry, you shouldn't even be posting this stuff. What kind of fan are you? I'm the kind of fan that gives a shit. I'm the kind of fan that says, hey man, there's a problem here and somebody needs to fix it. And maybe some of you need to step up and say, hey, let's start talking about this in earnest. You can see the timestamp of my video on Twitter. And you can then see how long it took certain people to start talking about it. And then you could see certain people start to post it and repost the video or take snippets thereof or talk about it. And very quickly, a divide happened. I mean, a very quick divide happened where people were saying it's not fair. Shouldn't be talking about these guys. Your attitude of my way or the highway is old. You're curmudgeon. You're old school. Every kind of pejorative that they could come up with, they were using against Vic Fangio instead of turning the lens and saying, what's wrong with these guys? Hey man, why are these guys acting this way? Do they not understand they are soldiers who work for Stephen Ross? Do they not understand they are the infantry that has to go out there and do battle? And here they are basically being insubordinate and talking shit about their coach. And the fan base is like, yeah, he deserves it. He's too tough on him. He's too tough on him. The panties are in a bunch and they need to have fun. I make light of it because I cannot even comprehend what is being said about this team, and that people don't realize, hey man, Barry, why do you keep talking about this stuff? I keep talking about this stuff like I said in yesterday's video, and I have to wonder what keeps happening when you see a long snapper bitching about getting the score run up about him by the Baltimore Ravens, even though they scored 70 on the Denver Broncos. And then I see Javon Holland go out here and tell Blake Ferguson, what the hell you doing, bro? You shouldn't be doing this. And then you see Tyreek Hill talking about Pat Mahomes and Andy. They know how to win. They're a good franchise. And everybody, I should say everybody, a lot of people on these social media networks think it's fine. They just think this is okay. It's become normalized to be insubordinate. Fangio is a coach. You are a player. There is no other relationship. I'm not here to be your friend. I'm not here to make 700 play tapes to prove to you that you don't suck. I'm here to put the best defense I can on the field, and you guys are bitching at me. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And at some point, I feel it's almost incumbent upon me to start getting you guys to ask these questions yourself. Don't be afraid. I understand they attack if you ask something. I know there's a couple guys out there that levied attacks at me today, and I think it bothers them that I don't stop. My channel grew in a shortest period of time because you know I'm being honest. I'm showing you things that other people won't show you. I almost feel like I need to put up a catchphrase or a new jingle. The news that nobody else is going to show you. I think that's what I'll end up making a jingle moving forward. See if I can't get it done in the next day because things keep happening so fast. All the news that nobody else will tell you. Until I tell you, then they'll all have a reaction. And the reaction isn't to talk about what happened. The reaction is to attack me. It's funny. That's what the whole word ad hominem means. When you can't discuss what you're seeing, and your only response and your only retort is to attack the person telling you. You don't address the message. Hey, the message is, right now, Vic Fangio obviously is talking to people and telling them that there's a dumpster fire in Miami. Well, Barry, stop talking about it. No, that's not the retort. The answer is, why is this happening? Why is it being allowed to happen? How can this be happening to my team? Or you're not a fan if you keep talking about this. I'm not a fan like you. Hopefully there's enough of you. Let's take some comments here. I've been rambling for 33 minutes, and I ain't done. I got more for you. All right, so let's see here. Make sure this comes up. So Dolph fans don't want to hear the truth. Many of them don't. Many of them don't at all. Ken Drigger says, it's too late for McDaniel. He can't all of a sudden become a drill sergeant after he's shown to the buddy type. For the love of God, Ross, sell the team. Ross created this pussy shit. Wow. Ouch. Hey, Tom, how you doing, bro? Tom says, Elton John, don't shoot me. I'm the piano player. I don't make it up. And see, one of the things I do with my videos, I think you guys realize, is I don't sit here and just pontificate. I try to show you, and I got more to show you to back up what I say. High estrogen levels in the Dolphins locker room. Oh, my God. Hey, George, loudmouth cream puffs. Yeah, it seems like that. It's a strong possibility the owner needs to step in and clean house. McDaniel has no control of this football team. Nope. I can't say definitively, none of us can, but it seems that way for sure. Let's see. Yes, you're right. McDaniel wasn't even an offensive coordinator. He had no coaching experience above a play coordinator, run coordinator, was not an offensive coordinator, was not a head coach. Robert France, thank you for the super chat. These are all supposed to be grown men. Yeah, absolutely. Damn, I'm flabbergasted. Oh, it gets worse. Because, again, I'm going to show you some stuff here in a second. So let me get to it so I don't keep you guys here for a whole year. Ever see the ballroom? Yeah, in the cane mutiny. You mean the strawberries? Like, some guys took my strawberries. Yeah, yes, I have seen that. Very good. How do you fix? Okay, here's a great question. How do you fix insubordination? Just like in business, you got to start at the top, and it has to filter down. You have to instill respect. See, that's a problem. Obviously, these guys don't respect or didn't respect Vic Fangio. This guy comes in with 40 years of experience, comes in with all of this heralded defense with coaches like Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, and Matt LaFleur, and everybody else running his defense, and these guys are like, yeah, you're too mean. You're making me feel bad. You're all up in my feels, man. You're all up in my feels. Whew. How do you fix it? Unfortunately, there's only one way. And when you're dealing with contracted players, it's even harder. Basically, you play, you do what I tell you, or you sit. And that's what happened obviously with Cam Smith this year. You're going to do what I tell you, you're going to do it well, or you're not going to see the field. All right, I still get paid $1 million either way, so I'm okay. Which tells you, what does it tell you? You drafted the wrong player. You signed the wrong player. Chris Grier, you didn't do the due diligence that was widely available for you to see we got a problem child here. Oh, Mike can fix him. Mike's gonna, make some cookies and warm milk and talk to him and sing a lullaby, and he might be okay. But what's Vic Fangio gonna say? Well, Mike will make him feel better. Really bad. Barry, you say, ouch. Yes, I have to ask Stephen Ross to sell the Dolphins. This is a serious matter. Chris Grier is a poison, I said earlier. It is such a poison, such a problem. I'm going to show you something that, we all, including myself, talked a lot of crap about Brian Flores and how Brian Flores treated Tua badly. We were told how bad Brian Flores treated Tua and some of the other guys. Do you see a similar trend going on here? Was it Brian Flores, or was it the culture of this organization? Was it the culture of South Beach, where these guys just, we're on vacation down here? Pre-draft evaluation is key. We need players that love football and willing to grind. So with Captain Swole's completely right observation, let me show you something. This was, and it's just amazing to me that, after the fact we can see this. This was, what's it say here? NFL Hot Press. If you notice the date, it's 11 months ago. Character evaluation is hurting Cam Smith. Y'all knew this before you drafted him, right? Okay. So I highlighted, as I always do, character evaluation hurting Cam Smith. At the NFL Combine, one of the more important and valuable aspects is the player interviews. Teams quiz players on their football intelligence, but they also dig into their background and character. One player who franchises were interested to speak with was South Carolina cornerback Cam Smith. The 6', 190-pound Smith has quality size for the next level. Team sources, however, said character concerns are hurting Smith with the teams, which have identified issues such as work ethic, makeup, and off-the-field habits. I didn't say it. Barry's not saying Cam Smith doesn't have a good work ethic and has bad character. They knew about it before they drafted him. They have identified issues such as work ethic. What did Ron Jaworski say? Oh, yeah, some of these players don't have any work ethic. I'm not saying it. I'm just showing you it was in the scouting evaluation. But it continues. Smith was in the running to be the fourth cornerback off the board during the 2023 NFL Draft, but per team sources, the work ethic and character concerns could easily cause him to slide into day two. And there were the Miami Dolphins going, yeah, that's just the kind of guy we need. Somebody who's got work ethic problems and character concerns. We're all in. Thanks, Chris Grier. You knew about it before the draft. So let me go to another article. Where is this one? Potential Cowboys first-round target subject to character concerns at the Combine. Notice the date, March 3rd, 2023, a full month before the NFL draft. This stuff started coming up about Cam Smith. You know, the guy who tweeted about he's getting unlocked because Vic Fangio is gone now? So let's continue with what he says here. Teams draft players with character and off-field concerns every year. The Cowboys are somewhat renowned for this, but having the desired character intangibles paired with freakish athleticism and potential is a foolproof way for prospects to elevate their stock. Basically, if you're really good, we'll put up with your bullshit. If you're that good. Now, here's what the Cowboys found out. This was published a month before the draft. Potential Cowboys draft target Cam Smith navigating character concerns at the NFL Combine. And this was basically the same thing as I showed you on the other site. Now they're passing it around, and they're saying team sources, however, said character concerns are hurting Smith with teams which have identified issues such as work ethic, makeup, and off-the-field habits. Off-the-field habits. Why did you draft this guy? Why did you draft the guy that the red flags were out, neon lights, blinking? Hey man, this guy has a work ethic problem. And he has off-field habits that aren't cool. So let's take him out of Columbia, South Carolina, where he already has these issues, and let's bring this guy down to South Beach. That sounds friggin' great, Chris Grier. You knew this a month before the draft. And now we're finding out that Vic Fangio didn't even have a hand and say in who you were drafting. So you just pulled this guy in and said, hey, Vic, we got a cornerback for you. Deal with it. Knowing full well this guy was an infection waiting to happen. If you read that kind of information about somebody applying for a job in your company, and you saw that the person that you were looking to hire had already identified, they weren't thinking whether it was not. It says identified. The person you're looking to hire has work ethic problems and off the field or out of office habits. Would you hire that person? I mean, think about it. So you hire that person, you go through HR, and you walk them down the hall afterwards, and you hand them off to your manager, your GM, and say, okay, here's Cam. He's here to work in the mailroom. Okay. Tell me what Cam's about. Oh, he's got some problems. He's not that nice of a guy. He's got some issues. Can we work with it? Can we try to make him feel good? Make it get better? He's one of these millennial guys. He's one of these new entitlement, DEI hires. But, we can maybe look over his issues. Would you do that in your regular business? If somebody told you that this prospective employee had work ethic and out of office problems, would you hire him? Hell no. But the Miami Dolphins did. And now this guy who a year ago they identified as having problems, is now out there tweeting and putting stuff out about Vic Fangio being gone, and now I'm unlocked. I can do whatever I want. I can go down to South Beach. I can hang with the boys. I can do whatever I need to because I'm Cam friggin' Smith, and nobody ain't going to stop me. And when you bring in this new defensive coordinator, let him know. Fill him in. Give him the 411 about who I am. You see why they may be having a problem getting a defensive coordinator? They all know this. I'm not making it up. It's in print. Barry, why are you showing it? I'm telling you what's going on, and people don't like me talking about it. I told you before, I ain't going to make anything up. I'm going to show you. I am going to show you firsthand why this team has become a dumpster fire, and you cannot look away unless you just have to because you're such a fan that none of this stuff matters. But it gets better. What if I told you that there's another player? And this is only the digging I've done since today, so I don't even know what the other ones are. What if I told you there was a high-profile player, another high-profile player that has the same problems from before? Maybe not the work ethic, but he's got the other issues. And that other guy would be known as no one other than this guy, Jalen friggin' Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey's talent not enough to justify the headache for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And this article was September 17th, 2019, not too long ago before he signed with the Miami Dolphins. Did anybody ever read this article? Did they ever talk to the Jacksonville Jaguars? There's no doubting Jacksonville Jaguars cornerback Jalen Ramsey has immense talent. We all know that. The guy's unbelievable. He's a lockdown defender with a rare combination of size, length, and speed. In his first 3 seasons, he's been to the Pro Bowl twice and was a first-team All-Pro. Applause. Fantastic player. There's also no doubting that Ramsey can be an immense headache. Did you know that? Look at what he's done here 2 years ago. And actually 2019. What am I talking 2 years? We're in 2024, 5 years ago. He has questioned coaching schemes and decisions. What? Wait a second. Didn't we see Jalen Ramsey talking about how he wanted to shadow somebody and Vic Fangio wouldn't let him shadow somebody? Hey, it's all up to the coach, but I'm going to tell you how I feel about it. He has questioned coaching schemes and decisions 5 years ago. Hey, bring this guy in. Fantastic. As a rookie, he advocated for the entire defensive staff to be fired. If that's not an infamia, I don't know what is. He ripped most of the league's quarterback in a magazine article, and as everyone saw last Sunday, he publicly confronted his head coach during the game on the sideline. Okay, wait a second here. Wait. So in 2019, this guy, this all-pro cornerback, he's so good, openly discussed coaches' decisions, talked about other players in an article, and then said, hey, they all need to go. We need to fire them all. And the Miami Dolphins said, that's our kind of guy. That's the guy we need right here. Let's continue. At some point, the headache outweighs the talent. It's no different than any high-maintenance relationship. There's only so much selfishness and so many demands one side is willing to put up with until there's no benefit in continuing the relationship. Perhaps there was a defensive coordinator who said, this is so friggin' bad. I'm sorry, this is so bad, I got to get the hell up out of here. I don't know what you've done, Chris Grier and Mike, but oh my God, the talent isn't worth it to me. I got to get the F out of here. Y'all doing some nutty crap down here, so let's continue. It's not a matter of choosing Coach Doug Maroney over Ramsey either. Based on Ramsey's history, and his actions last Sunday, would Ramsey really change his behavior if the Jaguars fired Marone and gave Ramsey the mega contract he wants and deserves based upon his production and talent? So you've got people wondering, hey man, even if we fire this guy, is he going to change? Is it possible for him with his behavioral issues to change? I wouldn't even want to be questioned like that. I wouldn't want someone to have to wonder if that is true. And it says, it seems unlikely. As good as Ramsey has been, the Jaguars have won 18 games in 3+ seasons. That includes blah, blah, blah. The franchise had many personnel issues in the past few seasons, especially at quarterback, the offensive line, and Ramsey's talent and work ethic haven't been able to overcome it. So he's no doubt a great talent. No doubt that he's a great talent. All right, so another thing to note, high-maintenance players generally don't spend their careers in one spot. We know that. By all accounts, and this is where the positive. By all accounts, Ramsey is one of the team's hardest workers. He studies opposing receivers and has notebooks full of information on every player. He is always in great shape. He did great this year coming back from the injury and treats his craft seriously. He's also not a bad guy. He's also Christian, very nice Christian man. He adores his family. None of that is an issue for the Jaguars. In that respect, he's a perfect player. Okay, great. He's got great talent. He's got a good work ethic. He's not the guy that they're saying had a work ethic. But what else is going on with Jalen? It's everything else that's the problem. Saying defensive coordinator Todd Wash should be fired in 2016. Defensive coordinator should be fired. Ring a bell? Okay. Questioning Wash's defensive calls in the fourth quarter of the AFC Championship game. Questioning the coach, saying he should be fired. Ripping most of the league's quarterbacks in a GQ article. Going on a profane tirade toward the media after a fight. That, along with threatening a reporter on Twitter, earned him a week's suspension in 2018. Did you know that? Did you know that he had those kind of issues? I think everybody stopped looking once they figured out he was an all-pro when he was coming to the Miami Dolphins. Hey, we don't know about any off-field issues or problems. Well, yeah, he doesn't like defensive coordinators who don't do what he wants them to do. Screaming at Marone on Sunday for not challenging a completion and having to be separated from his head coach was an over-the-top reaction that should have but didn't result in any discipline. It was the last straw and caused Ramsey to have his agent ask for a trade. Down here, he goes, that might be where the Jaguars stand with Ramsey right now. He has ridiculous talent, no doubt, but the relationship has become too high maintenance, and the only solution might be a divorce. That was in 2019. Did we just see, nobody named him, but what you just heard, did we just see the reemergence of that Jalen Ramsey? Hey man, he won't let me shadow XYZ receiver. I'm questioning him in public. If you're questioning somebody in public, what did you do in private? What did you do on the field? What did you do in the locker room? Because you're saying to everybody in public, I want to be shadowing him. And then, of course, all the fans jump. Oh, yeah, he should be doing this. Fangio doesn't know what he's doing. He should be putting Jalen Ramsey on Diggs and doing all this. And the fans are just clamoring and lapping it up, not knowing the history of some of these guys. And meanwhile, today, they're saying that Ron Jaworski and Vic Fangio are two old guys up in Philadelphia, and nobody cares what they have to say. Let's go, Mike. Go ahead and find a new defensive coordinator. Like it's going to be easy, like it's been easy. And let's just ignore what we're seeing here. You understand what I'm saying? You understand how this is just a complete nightmare that's evolving almost like a daily basis? You got players talking shit to each other on Twitter openly. You got Tyreek out there lying. And now you got a coach who's got this much credibility, way more than any of us on Twitter. They don't give a shit what you say on Twitter. He's talking to players and analysts and people with juice. These are people who have juice. And he's letting them know in no uncertain terms what's going on in Miami ain't good. I don't know if I could be an owner and have this kind of just carnival atmosphere going on with my team. And I don't know how many fans can stand much more of it. When the season ended, I said to you, I'm not going to be doing much more Dolphin stuff in case there's some breaking news. And it just seems like every day, more and more and more crap just keeps being put on the fire. When's it going to end? When is the upswing coming? When is someone going to say, hey, this is a good thing and it's moving forward to next season and it looks going to be really good? Right now, how does Stephen Ross have any faith in what this coaching staff is doing? But I'm going to take some comments before I get to the last piece here. So, what about, what about Hill be a hot mess off the field during his career, child abuse investigations, domestic abuse, and such that while he was, it took him, and it hasn't stopped. There's a cloud that follows Tyreek, but he gets 1,800 yards, and everybody doesn't care. I was told, don't talk about Tyreek. I think somebody faxed me, or not faxed me, but DM'd me and said, somebody said I was being Sally Jesse Raphael. Okay. At least if that's going to make me stop. I also saw that Holland is a crybaby. He was kicking rocks. These guys could not make it into service. Nope, he couldn't. It couldn't do it at all. Let's see what else here. Trade everyone except Skylar, Achane, and Brooks. You notice what was funny? When the people who were complaining, weren't they mostly guys in the defensive secondary? I didn't hear Christian Wilkins complain. Didn't hear anything from Zach Sealer. Didn't hear anything from AVG. Haven't heard anything negative from Bradley Chubb. Haven't heard anything negative from Jalen Phillips. It's all those guys back there. What's their problem? Why are they being such prima donnas and stuff? I can't tell you. Cornerback room is compromised. Kevin Bacon at Animal House. All is well. All is well. No freak out. Nothing to see here. And there's everything to see here. Grier must have donkey pictures of Ross. No other way Grier has a job. This franchise is like one continuous episode of the Three Stooges. Unbelievable. Barry, what's your coaching ground? Just high school. Just coaching high school kids. Not beyond that. I'm not prepared for this. There's no... I just can't imagine the guys who are interviewing who are seeing this stuff. Just imagine it. Imagine that there's guys being interviewed and they're like, hey, man, I've been hearing some stuff. So what do you think about this job, Fred? Well, sounds great. Would love to be here in Miami. Money looks great, but I'm hearing some things. I'm hearing that a bunch of these guys may jump ship because they're looking for more money. Is that true? I'm hearing that this quarterback may not be that guy, but you're getting ready to give him $50 million. Is that true? Okay. How many of those questions do you have to ask me? Like, yeah, thanks, but I'm a bounce, okay? I can't be here because it doesn't sound like you guys want to have a winning culture. Your guys are out there on Twitter and MySpace and whatever else talking shit about people. They don't seem focused on the task at hand. Hey, you got bounced in the wild card round. We need to do everything we can. So the first order of business is take your phones out. Delete Twitter. Stop talking. Tyreek, nah. No more podcasts. Shut up. Until you win a ring or at least a conference championship, shut up. Don't want to see this shit anymore. Don't want to see you on Twitter. Don't want to see you on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok-y, whatever. You're done. It's over. That's the conversation Mike McDaniel needs to have with these guys, and I don't think he can. I don't think he can walk in the locker room and say, we're done. I remember in high school, we were a rambunctious bunch of guys, and we were swearing, and a coach this was the funniest thing ever. Coach put us in a circle and goes, I never want to hear for the rest of the season F, C, MF, GD, and he went through a litany of about 60 words. CS, he actually said the words. You understand what I'm saying? Yes, sir. At that point, somebody doing something, okay? And at that point, somebody said, when can we say it? And that kid was running laps for being an idiot. This team is in big trouble. You improve by firing everyone and trading everyone. And that may not be what you need, but you need to see if people are going to stand up and be stand-up people. Dolphins players obviously can't tolerate resistance. Look what happens when they play competent opponents or in the cold. And we saw what J.C. Snead, was it, that did just put Tyreek in the ground, and Tyreek was worried about his hands being cold. Soft, man. And you can see it. Hey, Barry, the players are getting hurt because they don't train right. That's another thing. I don't know. I haven't been down to the Miami Dolphins practices. I don't know how much they hit. I don't know how much these guys are hitting during the week. That's another thing that could be causing a problem. It's McSoft's fault telling people it's okay to throw an interception. Let's see what else we have. Tyreek is untradeable because of his contract. Probably has a no trade clause in it. What else we got in here? Frazier, DC is black. Frazier is black coach. Are you okay with that? You're jumping into the frying pan, into the fryer, whatever you want to call it. He's an old school guy. If you want to put that label on him, you think he's going to put up with this shit? I'm sure Leslie Frazier will come in and go, hey, so they've all heard it. You can't deny it now. It's out there in the media. People are talking about it. I'm not talking about the tweets. I'm not talking about the Twitterazzi for Miami Dolphins Twitter. I'm talking about guys up here see it now. They all talk. I'm sure R.C. Clark is just salivating, and Emmanuel Acho, and I'm sure some of these guys just can't wait to talk about this, but they're holding right now because we're in the midst of the Super Bowl, so there's more important things to talk about. But I think at some point the dam's gonna bust, and how do I know this, or not know this, but why do I think this? Finally, somebody in the local media posted something. So let me show you this. This is from Alan Poupart. And Alan is a guy, as you know, who he's teamed up with Omar Kelly, who's lately become part of the, I don't know what you want to call it, the Miami Dolphins press machine out there. And he wrote a story tonight. It's hard to get through because they have so many damn ads on their page here. But he goes, the flip side of the Fangio story. Longtime Fangio friend and former quarterback Ron Jaworski had some strong comments about Fangio's time in Miami. And he goes through, as the saying goes, there's always two sides to every story. And now we're getting another side about what happened with Vic Fangio during his 1 year as Miami Dolphins defensive coach. He wasn't the head coach. Why are we just now hearing about it? I like Alan, but one of the questions I would say to him is, you guys are there every single day for the press conferences and watching practices. Why are we just now hearing about this on January friggin' 29th or 30th, whatever it is? Why is it now bubbling up? Did you not see any evidence of this before? It says here, Drew Rosenhaus complained about some players who didn't like Fangio's way of doing things, accompanied by social media images from Javon Holland and Cam Smith suggesting they were happy to see Fangio go. Why? Because maybe we're just going to get a guy like Mike who just treats us nice. Fangio hasn't spoken publicly, he's got class, since his departure, but his longtime friend, TV analyst and former Eagles and Dolphins quarterback Ron Jaworski spoke on his behalf during an appearance on Philadelphia radio station, which you heard earlier. And then he goes, you won't find a better man, a football lifer, a guy dedicated to his profession, a great designer, not an ego that impacts anyone else, which you heard. Jaworski played one season, former Dolphin, 1988. So I'm going to fast forward down here. You guys heard the coach's coach, and I have connection. We talked about that. But he gets down here, and he talks about Tyreek stuff. You guys can look this up. And I just want to get to the part where he talks about Brian Flores. All right, so what to make of this both sides? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that Fangio, who's been around a long time, is old school and has old school methods, and that means not always playing nice with his players. Old school. I hate the label. Those don't always work in today's NFL, and that clearly was the case with some of his players in Miami. These weren't his players. That's another problem. He was not allowed to draft and bring in the players he wanted. He got stuck playing with the players that Chris Grier already had on the team. They weren't his players. I wouldn't sign these guys. Watch what happens in Philadelphia. Watch the turnover up in Philadelphia at this point with him up there. Watch who's going to stay and who's going to go. He's going to put players he wants. This was also This was also an issue with some players during Brian Flores' tenure as head coach based on reports that surfaced after he was fired after the 2019 season. While Flores is much younger than Fangio, he also believed in a take no prisoner, or I'll say take no shit approach. Maybe Flores wasn't wrong. And head coach Mike McDaniel, Dolphins find someone who's able to relate much better to his players. Kowtow might be a better word instead of relate. But maybe there's something to be said for the tougher, no-nonsense approach when it comes to the bottom line. Applause, Alan. I mean, absolutely applause there. Great statement. Maybe there's something to be said about being tough. While the quality of the opposition and injuries certainly are factors, what is indisputable is that the Dolphins were 10-5 in December, January regular season games during Flores' tenure, and they're 4-8 under McDaniel. So he had a better record in the end of the season. Could it be that there's a mental toughness issue at play here, as well that it's keeping the Dolphins from succeeding at crunch time? It's a question that's certainly worth asking. Absolutely. Is that a question that's worth asking? Because you don't like toughness, because you revile from toughness, you don't like the way you're being handled, you're soft. This team is soft. This team is now being exposed as being soft almost on a daily basis at this point. And I don't really care what people on Twitter say or X, because their decision and their comments mean absolutely nothing. In regards to this team, the thoughts, actions, and words of people in the game across the league are what matters right now. This is what's going to happen during free agency. People are going to use this kind of stuff against the Miami Dolphins when they're negotiating with players. You can almost see it coming. You saw what happened with Deion Sanders. People used Deion Sanders' liabilities against him as they began recruiting. So if I'm talking to Christian Wilkins, I'm like, you want to come play with some adults here? I understand shit in Miami is not that good. So we're going to pay you money, but you're going to have to do this way, and we expect you, for what you're getting paid, to perform that way. Sounds good to me. Who wants to come play in romper room? Who wants to come hear this crap and deal with this fan base that basically doesn't want to hear it, that these guys are messed up? They've got an overinflated sense of self-worth. They think they can tell the coaches what to do, and it's Mike McDaniel's fault. You have created this weak-ass culture. You have promulgated it to the point now where people like Cam Smith, who you knew had character issues, are out there posting stuff on social media, clapping basically because a coach is no longer here. And that's the team you are responsible for. And you haven't, as of today, stepped out and said, enough. I saw Blake Ferguson, I showed you yesterday, he deleted his tweet. But you got to get Tyreek off of social media. You got to tell him, dude, you can't do this shit. You just can't take on the media and lie every single day about, hey, this divorce isn't really happening. And you can't do that. Shut up. Yeah, those are words he should actually say to Tyreek. Tyreek, shut up. You're a football player. We don't give a shit about your Soul Runner brand. We don't give a shit about your Twitch and your Minecraft or whatever the hell you play. Shut up. While you're on this team, be a football player and get out there in the community and go press hands and shake and kiss babies. That's what I want you to do. Nothing else. Cam Smith, I don't know what I'm going to do with you, but same thing. Delete your account, bro. Just fucking delete it. Excuse my language. Javon Holland, you too. Oh, and Javon, tell your dad to shut up. This is not how things go. You don't see it with the other teams. You don't see it with other coaches. But we're seeing it in volume here, and it keeps happening day after day after day. I'm not making it up. People get pissed at me because I make the videos, but I try to show you this is exactly what's happening. I'm not making it up. This is what was said. And it's up to you to think or accept it or not. See, Lee Cooper says, I agree, Barry. Barry would for sure berate these players. I don't see coaches I've been around, and again, like I said yesterday, just think, what would Don Shula do? What would Don Shula in his winning ways and what he did coming over from the Colts, building a culture here, what would he do if he saw this complete anarchy happening? There's your answer. Not from me. And if you're old enough to remember how Don Shula ran his ship, you know exactly what the answer would be. Some of these guys would be gone, and the rest of them, they would be told, shut up. No doubt. Look up Tyreek's contract. I'd have to see if I can find it, but yeah, Albert Grier told the real story. I have to go look that up. It's a players' league. Tough coaches don't make it anymore. Take a look around the league, Barry. Oh, you think not? You think tough coaches don't make it anymore? Look who's playing in the Super Bowl. Are you freaking kidding me? You guys just spout this crap and without any sort of knowledge. You think Andy Reid would put up with this shit? Dude, they're in what, fourth Super Bowl in 5 years? You think Andy Reid would put up with this crap? You don't think Andy Reid is an old school guy? Are you kidding me? I hate it when you guys say this kind of stuff and you just talk out your ass. Think, man. Wow. Let's see here. Belichick is out not because of coaching style, but because he wants complete control. Belichick is out for now. I got a prediction for you. If Andy Reid wins the Super Bowl, if they are lucky enough to win the Super Bowl again, he steps out, Belichick steps in. That's my prediction. Do I have any basis for that? No. I didn't make any predictions basically all season long. But I think Belichick or Pete Carroll are sitting back and going, Andy wants out. If he wins, he's going to go out as a winner, and they're going to hand the reins to one of those two guys. Watch what happens. These guys are hilarious. Don't know a damn thing about it. I know it's hilarious. They just spew shit out there, and I'm like, damn, you stupid man. You know what they said? Best you not talk and let other people know how stupid you are. Or go to those other channels that all say the same thing, and you have your hive mind, and you're walking around like this, like, you know, the robots, not robots, what were they? The zombies in the Will Smith movie. Just, whew. Barry, do you have any thoughts one way or the other about Lewis? Would love it. But there's no way Louis Riddick would take it unless he had the control to make these players do what he wants to. If that's the case, then the Dolphins will never be a championship caliber team. I wouldn't say never. I mean, you can change. If you have the mentality and the direction and focus to make a change, you can definitely change. But these guys? Nah, I don't think so. When Shula told players to do something, they got it done and they respected him. Absolutely. No doubt about it. Some of you guys are too young to remember. But you know, you think that this old school thing is wrong, and then now the players get to say what they want, and yeah, come on, man. As long as you know, if I was coaching, I don't care what you say, as long as you don't talk about football. How about that? How about Tyreek? You get out there and you play your twitchy thing or whatever, and never mention the Dolphins ever. Javon Holland, go ahead and talk about the family barbecue. Do what you need to do. Don't talk about the team. This is family business. What goes on here stays in here. But I don't know. You have to do that. Nope, you can't be best friends with these guys. They didn't respect Mikey on Hard Knocks. No, they don't respect him. You're never going to respect a guy who acts like that. Never going to do it. Never going to happen. Oh, Jermaine in here crying again. I mean, I see you guys talking about him, but I can't even imagine what he's doing. Barry, you're off your rocker. Stop, man. Okay. Would you like some milk and cookies? Because obviously this is too much for you. You're probably a millennial, and you're used to getting a participation trophy where everybody gets to play along and everybody's fine and there's no... You guys are crazy. Absolutely. Is there a no trade clause? I don't know. I'd have to look and see if he had a no trade clause. I'm not really sure. I'm looking at some of you guys here. It's so funny. It's so funny. Jermaine, stop while you're behind. Jermaine, I don't know what you're saying, but it's crazy. Here we go. A generation of kids never got a butt whooping. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Some of these, if you're under 30 and you never got your ass whooped by your mama, that explains a lot about you. You all want to be social media influencers. Yeah, I'm an influencer. I'm a fan. You're not a real fan. Go talk to those guys, okay? Just go see them. They'll embrace you. Go woke, go broke. You're absolutely true. Everyone gets a trophy. I mean, I knew we were possibly done as society when we started seeing that. When people got quote participation trophies, and these kids have grown up from that entire age of playing t-ball and flag football and I won't say soccer. Yeah, soccer. And it's just not working, man. It's just not working. Ass whooping makes a man. You know, sometimes parents and people can go overboard. And, you know, there's that fine line. But those of us who were just got plain discipline, you understood. There's a fire. You don't put your hand down. You put your hand on the fire, you're going to get burned. You get taught very quickly, don't do this. I was a rebel rouser. I did some stupid shit growing up myself. You get in trouble. You learn from it. But it was very funny. And I'll close with this. As big as I was, as tough as I thought I was, as big man on campus I thought I was, I just remember, even in college, the professor didn't think I was working to my capacity. And he told me, he goes, we had to send a letter to your mother. I'm like, I'm a grown-ass man. I'm 19 years old. You sent a letter to my mom? Yeah. I went, oh, shit. That means she's going to cut off the credit card. She's going to take the checkbook away. I had fear. It was a weird kind of fear, but there was still fear that my mom at 19, 1,200 miles away could still do something to affect me in a discipline type way. These kids have no fear. No fear whatsoever. I was on a recruiting call way back 1979 or whatever. And they used to have you go out and you were like the sponsor. You would go with a coach and you'd meet with a recruit. And this guy, I think I've said this story before, he was a fantastic running back in New Jersey. Unbelievable. We got in his house, and I'm sitting there quiet, sitting next to the coach, and then my other player was sitting next to the other side of the coach. We're quiet. Yes, ma'am. Would you like something to drink? Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. And the phone started ringing while he's talking to the recruit. And this is perfect story for what's going on with the Miami Dolphins. He's sitting there. Our head coach was talking to the recruit, and the phone started ringing. Back then, we actually didn't have cell phones. We actually had to go and take the phone off the wall and talk to somebody. Had to get up off your ass. Phone rings, and it rings, and it rings. And he turns around and he says, GD, answer the damn phone, Mom. And our coach looked over at both of us, and he goes, we're done. And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, if he's willing to talk to his mother that way, he's never going to listen to me. He's never going to do what I tell him to do. So when they get back in the room, have your drinks or whatever, and, be nice, but then we're going to get up and walk out. That's what's missing in today's society. That's what's missing with many of these kids on Twitter. That's what's missing with a lot of these millennials. There's no fear. This guy lost a scholarship because of the way he talked to his mom. Way back. 1970, like 79, 80. GD, Mom, answer the damn phone. I remember that to this day. If he will talk to his mother this way, he will not take instruction from me. Mike McDaniel knew that Cam Smith was a poison, toxic. He brought him on anyway. Mike McDaniel should have known, hey, listen, if this guy's already been proven to be a problem, do I need to bring him into my locker room? And so now you're dealing with it. And that's where we are. This team is soft. I will say it until something changes. I will say it until people fix what's going on here, but it doesn't seem like anybody's even trying to fix it. And for the life of me, some of you guys maybe just stay off of Twitter because you look stupid. You really do. Or just go talk to some of these other guys in the hive mind, because Vic Fangio, I didn't like him to begin with. Some of you guys saw my videos. I didn't think he was going to be that guy. Not because of who he was, but because I thought that offenses have changed and that his defensive scheme wouldn't work. Not because of the man. These guys impugned the man. They thought they were being bigger than him by talking all this shit on Twitter. In reality, they are the weaker ones. They're the ones who couldn't stand up and understand the relationship. He's the coach, you're the player, you do what he says. Period. End of discussion, end of story. There's nothing else to say. This team is in a continued downward spiral, and I'll say it again, hopefully nothing shows up tomorrow so I can do some other videos, but at this point, we're seeing the destruction of the Miami Dolphins, and it doesn't seem to be anybody pulling up the wheel and saying, hey, let's right this plane. It's going down fast, and I don't know what they're going to do. So that's what I had for you guys tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's, to me, I've never seen anything like this, so it's very hard to comment on it. I've never seen a fan base that just thinks it's no big deal, that there's this kind of dysfunction. They just look the other way. It makes no sense. This is a professional football team. This is the NFL. Something has to change, and it has to change soon. So, guys, that's it for tonight. We're going to go have some dinner. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope that gave you some background information as well. And let me know what you guys think in comments afterwards. I look at them. So, thank you very much. And hopefully, I won't see you tomorrow. But, yeah.